Hi, Coach. Curious about Bryson Bonds, hearing a lot about his maturity and his ability to pick up with things. You're his position coach. You work with him closely. What are some things that you're seeing from him?
Well, Bryson is, I enjoy coaching Bryson and working with him every day. He's a smart football player on the field. As a freshman, a lot of times as a freshman, you wonder if they can, make the checks, or sometimes just the learning a new defense and trying to transition from high school to college football is difficult. But he's done a great job of just getting in the playbook, understanding the defense. Saturday we had a scrimmage and threw him out there with some of the older guys just to see him move around. And he's one of those guys where he lined up, he made the checks, wasn't afraid to talk, to communicate, had a chance to make some plays. He came down and made those plays. So and he's putting his time in. He comes in early and he'll watch his film. He'll text me at night while he's at home watching film on his iPad, asking questions and things like that. So I'm very pleased with him right now. Just have to continue to bring him along.
All right, Zach, go ahead, and then Tom Brew.
Kind of in the other direction, and I imagine you probably were asked about this back in the spring before everything shut down. But how much have you been able to lean on having a lot of guys who've played a lot of football for their age? In terms of, I know obviously Bryant kind of moves to Husky, but Bryant, Juwan, Jamar, just a lot of guys that played young, have just a lot of time on task, and maybe aren't just veterans, but veterans with a fair bit of football kind of under their belt.
That's been, I tell you, that's been a blessing. Having a room full of guys that has a lot of playing experience, and they played in a lot of big games, and guys understand the work that they have to put in outside of the normal meetings and in the weight room in order to win and play at a high level. That's been huge. During the COVID, when we weren't allowed to meet with them, and those guys, we would have our Zoom meetings, and it was just like being in the same room. They would take notes, they would ask questions and things like that. So that was the maturity that they showed during that time. Really helped, and they, since we've been back, really they haven't let up. It's been the same thing in the meetings, paying attention, asking questions, coming out to practice every day with a great attitude, working hard. And if they don't understand something, they're asking me, "Hey, coach, can we watch extra film? Because I'm not 100% sure on this." And that's what you want as a position coach.
All right, Tom, then John.
Coach, much like there's a learning curve for incoming freshmen, I'm sure there's a bit of that for first-year coaches here too. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like since you got here? Because obviously COVID's put a little curveball in there for everybody. But where you're at now with your comfort level out on the field too, as everything goes through every day.
Well, I tell you, it's been of course it was difficult when we first started out being a new coach and not being able to meet in person with the defensive staff, and also not being able to have in-person position meetings. But I tell you, Coach Womack did a great job of putting together a schedule for the staff. Coach Womack, he did a great job where we would meet via Zoom even when we couldn't be together, and he did a great job having the meetings organized. And if there's something that I didn't quite understand, we would be, it may be an hour meeting, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long, to make sure everybody had a good understanding of what was going on. It does help that, coming from Ole Miss with Coach Allen and Coach Womack, so the defense is a little, I am familiar with it a little bit. There are some wrinkles, some new things that we're doing here that we didn't do there. But since we've been back, everything's been great. Coach Teagard and Coach Shelby, Coach People, they've been awesome. I enjoy coming to work with them every day, and they do an amazing job of just helping guys that's been here before. And hey, this is what we're doing. You understand this? You need help with this and things like that. So it's been great. I'm blessed to work with those guys.
All right, John Blau.
We've been talking a lot about Monster, just the improvements he's shown. You talked about those Zoom meetings. Could you tell that he's picking up the scheme, that he's kind of understanding things, and that he's going to come with this level of play and anticipation and things like that before he arrives? Or is that something that you kind of noticed, since camp has started, just that he's seeing things at a different level?
Well, I could tell in the Zoom meetings, because in the Zoom meetings we're watching film, and I would ask a question, and he could tell me what his job. He plays rover, so he could tell me exactly what he was supposed to be doing, the free safety, what the free safety is supposed to be doing, and also the Husky and the two corners. So he knows the responsibility of all five guys, on the field. And so and I could pick that up, and I can tell from the Zoom meetings, and you can tell when guys are watching a lot of tape, because they'll text you and they'll call you and they'll, "Hey coach, I'm watching play 16 of practice from 2 days ago," and things like that. And I had a question about this, and that's how they're putting the work in on their own when they're away from the football office. And then you see it on the field. Like on the field, he's lining up, he's making the checks, he's making the adjustments, and he sees the routes developing, he sees the runs, and he's playing a lot faster. So I could see it in the Zoom meetings, and now being in person is really starting to show up.
All right, Zach, last one.
I also just wanted to ask about Jamar Johnson specifically. I think he was a guy that, kind of quietly made a lot of plays last season, obviously returns the interception for the touchdown in the bowl game. Now he's kind of kicking back to safety. He's another one of those guys that's played a lot of different positions in that secondary. But just what are you going to kind of count on from him? What do you need from him, I guess, this season, maybe especially playing in that free role?
Well, Jamar, he's a good athlete, and last year, he did play a lot of Husky, so we moved him to free, and being that free safety, he's going to be in a position to make a lot of plays. The free safety, the safeties, the rover and the free, those two guys are like the quarterback of the defense. So he's going to be able to see the ball. It's going to give him the opportunity to, when we play vision coverages, to be able to go drive and break on the ball. At times he will go back. He will go back to Husky. So we still get reps with him there at practice, because he's a good athlete, and he's smart enough where he can learn two positions and things like that. So he's been practicing well, and we just need him he understands what's going on, and just continue to work, and so that he can play at a high level, anticipate routes, and make and continue to make plays for us.